Welcome to the Wisdom, Wealth, and Winning Podcast. My name is Larry Crump, and I'm the councilman in the city of Newark.
And my name is Al Kinney, surrogate for the County of Essex.
My name is Larry Jones. I am the founder and CEO of Future Leaders of Tomorrow.
My name is Alfred Hardy. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation in the Township of Hillside.
Pull up a seat and come and eat with us.
Marriage makes me feel responsible, not only to my family, my children, to my wife, but also the world that they're a part of.
Makes me feel as a leader, responsible.
Being married makes you feel like accountable and responsible and a protector.
It makes me feel great. I enjoy taking care of my family, working hard, being responsible, and making sure that they're in a better position than I was when I was younger.
So, Larry, expand on a little bit more about manhood as it relates to your specific marriage.
I look back at relationships that I've seen as I grew. I look at my parents, and I look at my father, and I see what he did for our family.
Sure.
And what he did was make sure that we had all our needs met and many of our wants. And that was very important to me when I got married and had children. And to the point where I think I spoiled them a little bit, all three of them.
Yeah,
but it was important that I am there to provide and protect. I don't have a problem taking care of all the, it's funny, I think you and I have talked about this too. You know, when it's time to spend the money, it's coming from our check, our check that week, as opposed to, our spouses. But I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I take great pride in being a man who's able to take care of families, take care of my family. Because like I saw my dad. He did what he needed to do. And I believe in the same way, I have to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
Make sure the bills are paid, make sure that everything is done in the house. I mean, It's funny. Sometimes my wife will start doing something, get on the ladder. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
Sometimes I let her, sometimes I stop her. But,
Yeah.
It's about when you are in a relationship, in a marriage with children, you are there for them. And I really think sometimes to the degree where, and this may happen in general, is you forget about yourself and dealing things for yourself. But at the end of the day, I'm more open to the fact that I'm doing this for them.
Sure.
And it makes me feel great as a man when you do that, when you're there to support and provide. It's not, and we always hear stories and people lose jobs and things like that, and it happens.
Yeah.
But if you're still trying to and you're accomplishing certain things, how can you not feel like a man?
So I think two of the words that you expressed the most was accountability and a responsibility, and like, is the ability to respond to something is part of your attitude as a man, is what I hear about. When something has happened in the house, as a man, I have the ability to respond. Then being accountable, right? I am accountable for my family in a direction it's heading into, and have the ability to be accounted for. So LJ, in terms of manhood for you in a relationship aspect of it, like, what does it mean to you? Like, what does it mean to you being a man, your ability to express your manhood in a marriage and a relationship?
Well, I would say, for the mere fact that I think I'm the only one at the table that grew up. No, I'm not. I grew up not with marriage in the household. So when I got married and had, my boys in the house, it gave me a sense of pride. Because I never wanted to grow up or be in a household or in a relationship without have kids and not be in a household or not be married. I wanted to be married, even though I didn't understand marriage. I wanted to be married because I felt that it was important. So what it do to me, it gives me a sense of pride in regards to that. Outside of, like, in my family, none of my boys, outside my brother, he got married late, but before none of us were married. He set the tone, but it just made me feel good because I want to do it right. I want to, and this shit brought pressure. And it brought pressure, it brought doubt, it brought fear, and misunderstanding of marriage. So what it did for me as a man, it brought a sense of pride, but it also brought a whole lot of doubt, fear, and misunderstanding for marriage.
Really? So you also said misunderstanding. Like, what do you mean by misunderstanding?
I didn't understand what it meant to be married.
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand I didn't understand my role. I didn't understand like my responsibility. I just like people say get married. How you get married? Then what? Like you still operate because if you don't know, marriage could look like just boyfriend and girlfriend. If you don't understand, you just like I'm just another relationship. Cause initially I looked at it as you just got a piece of paper. That's how I go. It's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So you just got a piece of paper, and now, so that's how I looked at marriage for a long time. But then, I wanted to be married. So there's like, once I got married, I didn't understand what it meant in terms of me protecting my wife, especially like her emotions and her feelings, and me understanding and me compromising or me just like not having to get my way
Sure.
all the time. So I didn't understand that aspect. And then, because when I got married, it was like, you got married, got no house, and you got like a family. Because I got married pretty quick. And I went from me and my son to me and a family within 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, that was quick. And then it happened so fast. I wanted it, but then when you get it, like,
Yeah.
you know, God say you ask for certain things, but then when you get it,
Yeah.
that pressure. So when I got it, I didn't know what to do with it. So that's why I misunderstanding of just marriage and fatherhood. Like married, then now I'm in a house every day now. And although I wanted, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it took me some time. It's like that learning curve.
Al, what do you think?
So, for me, I'm going to get a little churchy here.
From a spiritual aspect of it.
It wouldn't be you if you didn't do
It's called
that.
Minister Al, brother.
So husband, the term, the etymology of the HUS is really house, and band, you band together. So I'm the person who brings everybody together within the house. So that comes with responsibility, that comes with vision, and there's a cost to that, right? And we have to understand that the women that we were dating at the time, there's a cost. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we have to understand their value.
Yeah.
There's a value so with that value, I have to see how she fits into the vision that I have for myself and for the family. Because, we have a last name that we have to, a legacy that we have to protect, right? And that we want to move on and move forward. So I think that's very, very important to me and to my family, So April, she just came in and she just fit right in. I tell her that she's like she's like a spitting, not image, but the way they behave, right? Because she's in finances. My father is in finances, and then my father, he watches, not CNN, he watches C-SPAN.
Yeah.
He watches C-SPAN, and then that's April's thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's April's thing. I tell her, if we gonna have a good date, I'm gonna put on C-SPAN. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it was just a good fit. But I think the vision that I have to have for her, seeing her gifts, her talents, and where she's going, I think that's very, very, and there's a responsibility in that, right? Not just from a provision, but also an encouragement perspective, you know what I mean? And creating a space of safety, right? So I think all of that comes in being a husband.
So, it's interesting about marriage is that when you're dating, there's always a mechanism where you can leave. Right? Something happens, you can leave.
Yeah.
If there's a bad conversation, you just go, right? You can go to another house, right? And you can resolve the issue just through time and distance. When you're in a marriage, there is no time and there is no distance. You have to resolve the issue at that moment, or even, but you have to resolve that issue because you're in the same house with each other and in the same bed with one another and breathe in the same space with each other. And so I think what marriage, I learned is that you gotta be able to resolve issues in moments when you feel like you don't need to resolve those issues when it comes to somebody else. Like if I was dating you, I was just like, I can go somewhere else and meet someone else new, meet someone else different.
Keep it moving.
And keep it moving, right? But keep it pushing, right? But in a marriage, you push and pull at the same time because your wife is not going anywhere. right? So we talked about it last night, but there was no resolution. Let's revisit the same conversation this morning. And also I didn't like the way you spoke to me this morning. So in the afternoon, let's revisit the same conversation. And then sometimes it's the issues that brought back up again, you know, and you're like, where did it come from? But that's marriage, right? Marriage is that you're responsible. And I think the responsibility of marriage is, to me, has made me a better man. You know, I don't have to run away to resolve an issue. I have somebody that I'm accountable for, somebody that relies on me to make decisions, right? Typically, when I was single, it was just me. Like, I don't have to talk to anybody. It's just me making the decision on behalf of me. But then when we talk about bringing two houses together, then the legacy piece of it, and then someone saying, Jaron, you don't have to, you know, climb the ladder. I got it. I'll do it, right? That's my responsibility. And then also knowing your role, right? And submitting to that role and not merging those roles, you know, and then agreeing that, listen, I take out the garbage. I'm just going to go light work right now, more heavy. I take out the garbage, you know, but you do this. And I'm not going to talk about that this is, but you do that role. And I think that's one of the things about marriage is that it for me, it's made me a better a man in terms of like how to work with people rather than demanding people work for me in the way I want them to work for me.
If I could jump, sorry.
Go ahead.
Just real quick. That part about you can't leave.
Yeah.
That first year when I started, I didn't
can't
know.
leave.
Like, we got divorced.
Uh-huh.
Every argument.
Yeah.
I swear to you, every argument. I don't care. You can leave, like, because I didn't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know, but every argument was like a big argument.
Yeah.
And we got divorced, I tell you, like 7 times that first year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I don't need you. You don't need me. I'm like, it just was crazy.
Just go then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you don't know that. You just think it's like I said, like boyfriend girlfriend type of stuff. You just like, oh, I don't need this, and you just your ego start getting into play, and your pride start getting into play, and you just be like, well, you can just go.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you can't just go.
I once heard marriage is a marathon, not a sprint.
It is. Yes,
It is.
sir.
And
Yes,
that's
sir.
true. It's long distance. Keep going. You may have to get some water as you're moving. As you know, you'll stop taking breath and breathe a little, but you keep on fighting.
I'm gonna qualify what you
tell
said, Larry says, is that really marriage is not only just a sprint, but it's a sprint around Weekway Park, right? There's hills, there's flats, right? There's straightaways, right? You gonna go up slow, you go down quick, but it's like a roller coaster to a certain degree. And sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, no, finish what you
And so, like, I think that one thing I learned about marriage is that, like, yo, it's never a straight line. And if someone said it's a straight line, they lying to you.
Yeah.
It's TV.
They're not married.
And they married. Exactly, right. Single people give me like married people advice. About marriage, like, no, brother, it's like this.
That's
right?
the craziest thing that people do that.
But what do you think, though? You were saying you're about to get to a point.
I was just going to say, you know how we talk about, we just talked about men being happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy when I take care of the family.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm happy when I'm
100%.
paying the bills.
Yeah.
I'm happy when we're setting up trips and we're doing this. I'm happy when I'm making sure stuff is right in the house. I'm happy when, you know, somebody didn't get gas and I may had to figure out how to get gas real fast for the car, or just the kids need X, Y, and Z. You know, we got to figure out the schedule. You know what? I'll handle it.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about marriage and all the different aspects, but it also is a sacrifice. But it's a good sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, I don't regret or would change anything.
Yeah.
You know, when I get that phone call at 5 and I'm supposed to be at a meeting, and I have to pick up Cecil to take him to football practice. Yeah, I'm gonna be late for the meeting.
Exactly.
Because not only is it for him, it's for her too.
Yeah.
Because she's got so much on her plate. My schedule and my life is.
Yeah.
She didn't marry, and that's the other part.
Yeah.
You get married, you think this is the trajectory you're going.
Yeah.
And my like right there, and things changed dramatically.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. She wasn't ready for, or not. I should say ready. It wasn't part of the deal.
But yeah.
And so you got to make sure that to me, happiness is important. What you're doing to take care of them, but also being able to sacrifice for them.
Yeah.
I have a question. How important, and I brought it up earlier, but I would like to hear from you guys, how important is the passing on of the last name,
Wow.
right? so April, she was a powerhouse in her own right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she has,
Yeah.
she has, Brown Hardy. But
Yeah.
she has that Hardy. And I tell her Hardy is where the favor is at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So, but it means something not just to me, but it means something to the family. You know what I mean? What is that like for you guys? Because you guys are powerhouse in your own right. You know what I mean? But like you come from a lineage. You know what I mean? I come from me too. Like I know my history. Same thing with you. The Kennys is a lineage. Even going back into like what is the hospital?
Yeah,
like,
Kenney Hospital.
Yeah. So the Jones is a lineage. How is that? That experience.
I'll be honest, I gotta tell you, mine was easy. Zelma was just like, I mean, in the household she grew up in with her parents who were, her father was a pastor and all that. She was like, yeah, I'm taking your last name. It wasn't even like a question of it.
Yeah.
So that was easy for me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how,
Yeah.
I would have pushed it. I mean, I wouldn't have mind,
Yeah.
hyphenated, but she was like, I'm not even hyphenated.
Yeah.
I'm going straight. I'm Zelma M. Crump.
Yeah.
That's it.
So it's interesting because Jaren's middle name is Sims. It was never Sims. And she made her last name her middle name.
Huh.
And so I wasn't pushing it either, right? I was just like, I would have loved to have it at Kenney, but I know in the age of women empowerment, I was indifferent. But also I felt something personal. Was I want my Kenney name to extend beyond my generation. I want my children and me to have the same last name. And that was important to me as well. And Jaren wanted it as well. So like her Gmail handle was one JS Kenney, right? There's only one JS Kenney, right? That's just who she is, and I didn't push it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't push it at all. But in hindsight, it did mean a lot to me, and I didn't say it, but I would have felt inadequate, and I would say inadequate as a man had I allowed that last name not to transition after me, right?
Yeah.
Like my son would never had that last name, and I think Jaren for doing that, for making that sacrifice. Because like you said, Al and Larry, our wives are very powerful people in their own individual right. And, in your mind, like, giving up your last name should mean a lot.
Yeah.
But then to take on somebody else's name and say, well, I'm a part of now your house, your family, that means a lot as well. But, that's what my thoughts are. But Jones, you have a unique situation as well.
I do. So it is unique. And I didn't make a big deal about it, but we did talk about it. So my wife, she's previously married, so she has her ex-husband's last name, and her challenge was taking on her last name is that her son's last name is her last name, so she didn't want to have a different last name from her son. So for that perspective, I understood it. Initially, I didn't really care about it. I didn't think about it. But then, hanging around y'all, to be honest with you,
Really?
y'all wives had y'all last name.
Don't blame us.
Get
in trouble.
Their wives got their last name.
Yeah.
I want you to have my last name too. But this time but now we talked about it. So then she put the hyphenated Johnson Jones behind her name. But it is, her issue is that she didn't want her son. She wanted when he was young to have a different last name, her last name, because he has his father's last name. She has her ex-husband's last name.
Yeah.
So that was a little tricky. And then, like you said, she's building her name everywhere. So sometimes I still tease with it from time to time.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
So, Larry, you also had a conversation about, in terms of marriage and manhood, and what are your thoughts in terms of like the next phase in terms of meeting your peak levels, either your professional life or even some of your life in terms of just you as being a man? Like, have you noticed that you've hit a higher level in terms of your view, your output of what being a man is in terms of as it relates to your relationship, as it relates to your marriage?
It's crazy, or not crazy, but interesting. One of the things I recall is my father actually at one point early on in his career, when we were young, when I was really young, wearing shoes with a hole in the bottom of them.
Really, yeah.
Because he was making sure that his family had what they needed. And I'll never forget that. And to that point, I'm always thinking about my family. I'm always thinking about them currently, and in the future. And that's probably one of the reasons we probably get in an argument sometimes, because I'm not always thinking about today. I'm thinking about tomorrow. I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about the kids' college education. I'm thinking about retirement. I'm thinking about all these other things that may not be it definitely isn't in the kids' heads. They're not thinking that. They're like, what can you buy me today? You know. But I love the fact that I'm able to take care of my family. That is so critical to me, because I saw, and I keep going back to my dad, and that's what men need, to have that role model in their lives. I saw what he did. I saw what he sacrificed. I saw when he would travel and come back and make sure he was at my games. I saw all that. I saw how he took care of my mom, you know, how he looked out for my sister, looked out for me. And I mean, to my dying day, I'm going to be doing that for my family. It is just like instilled in me from my family. And I say my dad, but also other family members and friends. We had a great neighborhood. Sure. We saw how they took care of it, their family. And so that's what I really, really think about. I mean, look, I even like going shop. I used to go shopping for everybody. I would go buy clothes for the kids and for Zelma. Sure, yeah. And fortunately, I started to learn her taste. So at least she would actually wear them. I was like, I got that for you, didn't I? Well, yeah, that was a little extra, but I'm talking about that was a request. That wasn't.
I was like, no, we're not. That's not in the budget.
And our wives were messing with you. Know, she said, I'm gonna definitely mess with you on that.
Yes.
But, you know, so I mean, at the end of the day, that's what's important, man. And I'll wrap this up. I know we have to wrap up. The other day, I asked Cecil, I said, are you happy? And he said yes. And that just moves me to no end, man, because I know there have been times when he's been bullied or dealt with other things, and he's said, I wish I weren't here. And to hear him say that, he's happy. He likes his new school. He didn't want to go to school anymore because all I do was get bullied at school. And so yesterday, or the day before yesterday, we were in the car together, and he just said he was happy. And I said, really? He said, yes. And that's all I want from all three of them.
Absolutely.
I want them to be happy, but I know we've kind of probably gone over a little bit of a time. I want to thank you all for this episode, because this was I think, a very emotional and moving episode of our experiences being married and having a family. And we've all, you know, I think I'm the oldest one that got married, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think I got.
Are you older than me?
41.
You got me. You got me. It was close. I was like 42, I think.
Yeah, I think I was
41.
Yeah, so, you know,
I got remarried.
There you go. Okay, so we give it to you that way. When you get your ways and get married and you have to deal with everything, it to me, it's a blessing to have the ability and capability to do that. As you can see here, we get very personal with our wisdom, and we hope that our discussions will help you with your goals and become a winner. Make sure you sit down with us for the next edition of Wisdom, Wealth, and Winning. Make sure you rate, follow, subscribe, and share. Thank you again for sitting down with us.